Welcome to Open BXRx on BronxNet. I'm your host, Sonyi Lopez, inviting you to get social with us at BronxNet TV on Instagram and Twitter, and BronxNet Community Television on Facebook. COVID-19 has only amplified many already existing systemic issues in our borough, one being food insecurity. And as more and more families rely on pantries for food during this crisis, it is obvious that there is a need for healthy, sustainable food here in the Bronx. In response, one Bronxite created the ReBORN food initiative. Joining us now to discuss is Henry Obispo, founder and CEO of Born Juice. Hi, Henry. Thank you so much for joining us
Hi,
today.
Sonyi. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? First of all, I'm sorry for the loss of your father.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's within all that, I'm hanging in there.
All things considered, and still working in the community even despite it all. So thank you for your strength and for moving forward. And my condolences and prayers go out to you and your family, just to start with that.
Thank you. Your words really mean a lot, and it's actually also because of it that I'm actually working in the community, because I've been so impacted that I had to put the energy somewhere.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. And there's a beauty in that, and that he's here with you, even, spiritually. So Henry, to start, for people who are not aware, please tell us about Born Juice and your mission.
Yes, thank you. So Born Juice is my baby. It is a social entrepreneurship model that is mainly based on sustainability and social entrepreneurship as a model for the greater community. We focus on the idea of hyperlocal urban farming and zero footprint when it comes to carbon for the greater good of the planet, obviously. And really it is the emphasis on all of these aspects of, I would say, sustainability is to showcase a model that people could be inspired of, but also a model that actually makes a dent in a lot of the systemic issues that we're dealing with in humanity, and obviously in our backyard here in the Bronx.
Right. And Henry, when we consider our position as the unhealthiest county out of 62 counties, COVID-19 and its disproportionate impact in our borough has only amplified the pre-existing health disparities in the Bronx, as we know. Let's discuss food insecurity. What exactly is it, and what is food's role in this crisis?
Yeah, so it's a tricky thing. Food insecurity, you can get a lot of, I guess, voices that can sort of tell you what it is or what it isn't. But what it is for us is a very specific thing, which is systematic lack of resources. I would say by design systems that have kept us in many ways in a very apartheid state when it comes to food. And I say that because there is a racial component to it, and the visuals and the idea of apartheid, we often reference it to other places, but in this country, specifically in the Bronx, there is such a thing as food apartheid, where it's the idea of food insecurity, where you may not have access to certain things, and then at certain thresholds, you may run out even more than you would in normal times, where you would be sustained with very little. Also, so you'll have the sustaining normalcy of poor food options and not many places where you can have access, and then something exacerbates that, and now you don't know where to get the food. Now there's less access, and by design, when you step back, you realize that it's an apartheid system that disconnects you to the very essence of life, which is food.
Right. And when you speak about battling that, you're actually spearheaded the ReBORN Food Initiative. What is it, and when did it come about? Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, so the ReBORN Food Initiative is birthed really out of pain and during this period, like I said, my father passed away. And as a result of that, I didn't know I had all this feeling and all this pain and all this, I would say, strain and anxiety, everything. And I wanted to do something with that. I couldn't find where to deposit it because we were all sequestered in many ways. And so one of the ways was to be of service, and with the idea now that the veil has been lifted for a lot of people, of the true inequalities when it comes to health disparities, specifically here in the Bronx, I wanted to focus on that which needed to be sort of highlighted. Mm-hmm. And the ReBORN, I call it the ReBORN Food Initiative, is because there is sort of like a rebirth, a reimagining of these systems. And it was specifically to target systems and how we needed to focus on local, hyper-local, how we needed to focus on self, and how we needed to empower ourselves to know that we actually have the resources if we focused on it. And if we realize that what keeps us down is actually what we need to actually sort of reverse and focus on, which is systems that work for us, not beholden to, the bigger reality or the bigger systems that, we just end up being sort of at the tail end of that reality.
Right. And through the ReBORN Food Initiative, you're growing food, right? And the purpose is to give that back to the community as well?
Yeah. So the idea is that we're all growing and also showing, because it's sort of like a two-way thing. It's not in any way thinking about just creating, because you can't create a system when you're just giving something. You want to empower people, so you have to show that somebody from here and others are actually taking part in this so that they can see themselves, also somebody that looks like them. So the idea is twofold. Is one, there's food insecurity and there's hunger as a result of generations, but now exacerbated because of COVID. So we wanted to tackle two things, which is satisfy that hunger, the immediate hunger, but then also talk about a system that now people can fold in and now reimagine themselves in, as the idea of being reborn in a new way where they are empowered.
Right. And when we talk about that system, pantry lines have shown us the ample need in our borough, as I said earlier, yet we have plenty of green spaces and gardens in the Bronx that we can be using. Should and could Bronxites start growing their own food? What are the benefits? And please share your vision for the Bronx and urban gardening.
Yeah, so we have many, or I would say, urban gardens in the Bronx, but I don't know where there's a disconnect, where I don't know if it's policies or politics that don't allow for the idea of a system that can be created with all of them connected, growing food and making it available, and also creating spaces for people to actually literally get their hands dirty. And so, but beyond the green spaces, we also have parks. Mm-hmm. And we have the largest parks in the city. We are the greenest borough in that sense. And we have to also rethink the idea of a park and making a park work for us. Whereas, parks are usually and traditionally envisioned to be a model of, conservancy in a way, but not in a very, I would say, user friendly and needs-based. So we're talking about space. We have ample space to create systems and to sustain them. And then to your question as to how I see the green reality in the Bronx, I see green everywhere. Yes, we're called the greenest borough, but when you're talking about the South Bronx, it's actually the very opposite. Mm-hmm. The greenest borough pertains to mostly the northern part of the Bronx. Yep. And the northern part of the Bronx and the southern part of the Bronx, as many people know watching, there is a stark difference in terms of access to green space. And that also, when you're talking about health disparities, now you're talking about asthma rates also, because there are no green lungs really in the South Bronx to cleanse the air on top of the pollution that there is. So the idea then is that since we are an urban oasis, why not take the rooftops? Why not go green with green technology? Why not create green spaces through hydroponics?
Mm-hmm.
Why not engage NYCHA public housing in greening up the rooftops and creating that? And because we have space, but in the South Bronx, we may not have the spaces for these vast parks.
Right.
We can take our rooftops. And my vision moving forward is for us to create a plan where we can reclaim our green spaces, but on rooftops.
Henry, I wish we had more time to discuss more because you have so many ideas and you have been advocating for the community for the past few years now. So, you know, COVID-19 has only amplified that advocacy. And thank you so much for your work in our community. How can people stay in touch with you and learn more about the ReBORN Food Initiative? Are there any community events coming up?
Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity to chat with you and chat with everybody in the Bronx. Yes, we have an upcoming initiative, again, the ReBORN Food Initiative, but we're going to have a ReBORN Food Initiative Harvest. And the idea is that towards the end of the month, September, we are going to invite the community and other members and stakeholders to harvest this food that we are now going to offer to NYCHA Public Housing. We're going to offer to the greater population of the South Bronx.
It's a beautiful thing. And people can stay connected on Instagram and online.
Yeah, you can stay connected on Instagram with Born Juice on Instagram and Facebook and www.bornjuice.com. And hit us up if you want to be a part of the initiative and if you are in need of any source of nutrition or food, hit us up and we hope to help.
Thank you so much, Henry, for your time.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Open BXRx will be right back.